Okay, officially, good morning, everybody. I am Lisa, and this is Natanya, and we are half of the Monday Morning Cooking Club. And welcome to the Monday Morning Cooking Club kitchen, which is where we are right now. And we're pretty happy to be here, and even more excited that you're all here with us. There are a few hundred of you, and it's really wonderful to have this. I feel like we're creating a community.
Yes, and really from all over the world. I've just seen, hi, Michelle from New York. So lovely to have you along with us.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So please keep chatting to us in the comments. I will keep reading. I've got the font big enough that I can just see it from here. If I have to squint, I'm sorry, but I'm doing my best not to. And we're making today two dishes that to me are my most, don't think about, make at the drop of a hat, always got the ingredients in the fridge and the cupboard, part of our life dishes.
Classic Friday night.
Yeah, classic Friday night. So for those of you who celebrate Friday night, these are the best things for us, for starters with your colour. When you sit down, pretty much at my Friday night table, this is what we have: egg and onion, avocado dip, colour, pickles. That's it. Yeah. What about you?
We sometimes add in chopped liver and sometimes a plate of smoked salmon, because my daughter really likes to have the avocado dip with the smoked salmon, which is a great combo. Yeah.
And if you're not a Friday night person, you don't do the Friday night thing, then these are fantastic for a Sunday brunch with, grab some bagels or some fresh bread. They're just really great. Also just to have in the fridge for weekend snacks.
Absolutely.
Really good. They keep for a couple of days. So Lois says her grandmother made egg and onion using schmaltz, of course.
Yes.
For those who don't know, schmaltz is chicken fat, and there is nothing better than onions fried in chicken fat. So before we go through the ingredients and everything in detail, I want to get the onions for the egg and onion onto fry, and then we can talk some more, because they do take a little while to cook properly. And I just want to show you how I'm going to cut them. This is called a rough chop as opposed to a fine chop. And I just cut them in half. I put them flat on the chopping board. And remember, in this kitchen, green means onion or garlic. Yeah. And you will never chop fruit on green boards in this kitchen because it'll smell of garlic and onion. And I know that they are only used for that. And it's a really good thing to do in your kitchen. Okay.
It's a great rule that all the Monday Morning Cooking Club girls follow, that we learnt from Lisa early on in the days.
So I am doing a rough chop, which means I'm probably cutting the half into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces only. So it's really not a fine chop at all. Too fine, you just don't need it for this dish. And then I'm turning it around and I'm going to cut down the other way. So
would you have your fry pan already warming up?
I wouldn't. I mean, you could. I guess you could. And that's it. So that's what I call a rough chop. Just 2 chops up and down. Oops. Hold on a sec. I've got some on the floor. No, they might. I think that's... I've got 2 big dogs, and anything that goes on the floor, they're there. So I'm just going to chop the onions. Yeah, I guess we can turn it on.
With some oil?
I always use a non-stick pan for all my frying. Do you use non-stick?
Yes, definitely.
But
that doesn't mean you still need oil.
I've got 1/3 cup of oil for 2 onions. And the oil, I don't measure it anymore. I just put the onions in and just pour the oil over, because I've made it so many times. But I think 1/3 cup is the right amount, but we'll check today. I've got 1/3 cup of oil. Use any oil you like, even olive oil.
And don't be tempted to skimp on the oil because you don't like to use a lot of oil. This dish is all about the oil in the egg and the onion, so you need it.
And if you put too much oil in the pan, it doesn't matter. We're going to drain the onions pretty much at the end anyway, and you can use the oil for another day for another thing. So I'm just going to chop the onions. Again, a rough chop, and I use my trusty Victorinox steak knife, which is a $6.75 knife, which I find so useful in the kitchen, particularly for jobs like this. Okay.
I should. Hi, Mandy.
So this is just 2 onions
from Melbourne.
Okay, so now I'll talk to you about the egg and onion recipe, and the ratio is generally 1 onion to 4 eggs, or if you're feeling very oniony, you could do 1 onion to 3 eggs. I do somewhere between 3 and 4 eggs per onion, depending on my mood. And interestingly, it's 1 egg per person. That's what you need. And I know it doesn't seem like much, like 1 egg seems like nothing, but it actually is quite a lot. And I always end up with leftovers. Okay.
But you want the leftovers.
Yeah, you do.
You make a little bit extra so that you've got leftovers, because there's nothing better than egg and onion on challah toast on Saturday morning.
It's true. It's actually very true.
Yeah.
But I do find when the egg and onion sits in the fridge overnight, it does lose some of its flavour. To me, it's ideal cooked and eaten within a couple of hours.
Oh, but my kids don't like it warm.
There you go. Okay.
Sorry. So I have to make it, and then it has to be cold before it goes on the table on Friday night.
Oh, no, we're the opposite. We like it not warm, but just room temperature. So I'm just mixing the onions and the oil in the pan. What I also like to do is to put a little bit of salt. And I'm just using some table salt on the onions while they're cooking. I feel like it just seasons them from the inside almost, rather than it seasoning only at the end. So sauteing the onions and some oil. And I just want to show you, I could actually have a bit more oil in there. What do you think?
I think so, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm going to put another, if you want me to measure, I'm going to add half of a third of a cup, so another 2 tablespoons. And just so, for those of you who want to measure, we've got 2 onions and 80 and 40, 100, half a cup of oil actually. Yeah, so let's change that recipe. We've got half a cup of oil and 2 onions. You do want them to be swimming a little bit in the oil because it's really important. Paddling. Okay, so I'm going to start cooking, and that's going to take probably at least 20 minutes. And we're going to do everything else in the meantime.
The eggs are not going on now?
They are. So this is the order I do it at home when I make it on a Friday. I put the onions on. I put the eggs into a saucepan, just a middle-sized saucepan with tap water, room temperature, and the eggs are room temperature. It's really important that everything is room temperature here. And I'm putting the 8 eggs into my room temperature water. I don't prick them. I don't add vinegar to the water. I don't do any of those tricks my mother did.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, sorry, my mother did.
So they don't crack.
My mother pricked them so they don't crack, and I've never had a problem.
But it doesn't even matter if they do crack.
And I'm going to put that on high heat, the eggs, until they come to the boil. The second they come to the boil, I'm going to time 8 minutes, okay? It's important to make sure they're all at room temperature because it impacts the time. And then 8 minutes once they start to boil. Someone asked what heat the onions are. I always start on high, and
to get it hot.
Yeah, can everyone hear us all right? Is there a problem with the sound? I just got a notification that there was some issue. No, all good. Okay, the onion starts on high always, just to get it going, and then I'm probably going to turn it down to medium.
Oh, and someone has told us that a little bit of sugar in the onions brings out the flavour. I've never heard that.
No, I have caramelised onions with a bit of sugar before, but for this I just never have. They just go so naturally sweet.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah. I mean, because you're cooking them for a beautifully long time.
Okay, onions are on. Can you see they are just sizzling really nicely?
On a medium heat
now on a medium heat. Started high, really sizzle. And we're looking for golden brown onions. This is not sweating them off till they're soft. This is golden brown with crisp edges.
But you need to cook them really slowly. So if they were on a high heat and they went very brown very quickly, they wouldn't be, that's not right.
Not really slowly. I wouldn't say really slowly. I would say not really slowly, because really slowly, like for a French onion soup, where you want the onion to be brown and soft all the way through without any crispy edges, I would say that's not what we want. We don't want how you do onions for a soup, like for a vegetable soup, which is soft with no brown.
Yeah.
It's in between. So it's sort of a 20-minute to 30-minute cook.
Which is quite.
Do you think that's quite slow?
For 2 onions.
So anyway, we'll see how we go, and you can decide if it's quite slow or not, but it's somewhere in the middle. Oh, we are missing some words. Is the sound not clear? Are we cutting out? All right, I might just fix.
Or maybe we're just not speaking to the.
Yeah. Okay.
To the screen.
So let's try this. Okay, is that better? How's that sound? Is everyone happy with that sound?
Sound is fine.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Good.
great.
Thanks. Okay, great. All right. So this is frying. They're boiling. I'm going to get my phone to to time it, and I'm going to just, before we start the avo, I do want to tell you one second about. Can I talk now about this egg and onion dip, or do you want me to wait?
What have you?
Because we've got some time while they cook, and we've got the avocado to do. But I'd just like to tell you about this egg and onion dip, because it is one of the recipes that's closest to my heart in the whole world for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's in our first book. So our first book is a collection of, where is that book? Of recipes from our heart and soul, probably more than the other books, because it's got all of our family recipes in it. And I mean, there are some in the others as well, but this one
we're talking about this one. Yeah.
So we did this book in 2011, which is quite a long time ago now. It took us 5 years to write. And in this book are my favourite family recipes from my family, and yours too, like a lot of
my
us.
grandmother's recipe.
And so this egg and onion was taught to me by my mother and by a lady who worked in our house whose name was Pat Diamond. And Pat used to work for my father's mother, my grandmother, and my father's sisters. So she was part of my father's family household for years. And my grandmother, who came from Poland, taught Pat how to make egg and onion. And Pat used to help in the kitchen and make egg and onion with my grandmother. And then Pat then came to work for my family, and Pat taught my mother. And then Pat and my mother taught me. And I remember coming in from school every Friday afternoon. My mother worked. She's a doctor, and so she was busy a lot of the time. And Pat would be making egg and onion, and she would have her hand in the bowl mixing, as you'll see I'm going to do. And I used to come in and taste it. And it's such a strong memory in my mind of her standing there, her mixing it, the smell and the taste. And what I just realized today is that I always make it in this bowl, and just because it feels like the right bowl. But I just told Natty that Pat gave this bowl to me for my wedding. She gave me the set of these bowls. She's now passed away, sadly. But there you go. So Pat's with me still as I make this recipe that comes from 2 generations ago in my family.
And what I love about a lot of our recipes, but particularly the egg and onion, is that now our family has egg and onion on our table every Friday night. And it's become, we have taken the Goldberg tradition and it is become, the Hansky, tradition. And it has now become our family tradition. And I'm sure many, many more families as well. And it's so
that's
beautiful.
What I love about it. Yeah, like exactly,
about.
like my humble family recipe that came from Poland decades ago is now, being made all over the place. And I don't think there's an egg, people call it egg dip or an egg spread that is better than this anywhere in the world. And it has, 2 ingredients, and oil and salt. I mean, what simpler dish could you get? Okay, so someone said, don't I add any spring onions? Definitely not. It's just brown onions in this recipe. Our next door neighbour in Melbourne, where I grew up, Miriam, also made a good egg and onion, but hers was different. She used spring onions, raw, and mayonnaise.
Yeah,
different
and that's
thing.
Very common.
Yeah, different
completely different.
No mayonnaise here. Yeah. So that's my egg and onion story, and you'll see in a minute, not in a minute, but a little while, how lovely and golden the onions need to be, how well boiled the eggs are going to be, and how we make it. But I'm going to hand over to you and the avocado dip.
Okay, so we're going to go on with the avocado dip. I've got my red onion and my tomato. I'm going to start by chopping them first. It's only a quarter of an onion, and how I do it at home is I just slice off a cheek, really, of the onion and chop that up as finely as possible. And I suppose everyone can make it how they like it. Some people probably don't like onion. Some people
do. It really adds to it, though. I mean, I know people say leave out the onion, but then you're just going to have mashed avocado.
And
really. So let's just go over the recipe for this. We need 3 avocados for this amount, and this is going to serve probably 8 people.
Easy.
Depends which family you live in.
Like, and how much you put on your halal. But while you tell us the ingredients, I'm going to just chop.
Oh, okay. So you want to chop this finely because you don't want a piece of crunchy onion. So for the egg and onion, we did it roughly because they're frying and you want them to be, you want the flavour of the onion. This one, you just want a hint of it. So it's very fine. Exactly. And this knife is so good for doing that. And, like I did 6 cuts across with my onion. Natty's doing I'm
doing about 25.
25, yeah.
More.
So it's
really, I do it as finely as possible because, as Lisa said, you don't really want to bite down on a piece of onion, but you just want the flavour of it. And if I have too many big bits, I just pick them out and I don't even use them.
So Natty's slicing the onion. So Nikki says nothing worse than raw spring onion in egg dip and halal. And she differs with her husband. Yeah, everybody's got their own view. I don't mind raw spring onion actually because I'm an onion lover. I've got lots of friends who don't eat onion, which makes it really challenging. Esther says she's plaiting colour as she watched. Well, that's great. I love that idea. Esther makes a beautiful colour actually. Hope you'll post it on Instagram so we can all see. So this avocado dip is in the 3rd book. So we've been making this avocado dip. Natty gave this recipe to me, I would say, at least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then we never put it in the book because we just had too many recipes. And
I just need to say I'm a terrible onion cutter. Terrible. Marilyn is actually the expert out of all of us. And what I do is once it all falls apart, I actually just remove the bits because I don't want big bits in it, and I just use my tiny fine cut bits, and that's it. Sorry, continue.
But you don't have to be so pedantic about the onions if you don't want to. It's just however you like them to taste in the dip. So I'm just going to give this a stir from time to time, and the onions are going well. They're probably about halfway there. Those of you who are cooking along, hopefully they're starting to look like that. And they're not ready yet. And that's the hardest part of this dish, is to get the onions exactly right. And I have to admit that there are some weeks I just get them a little bit over, or a little bit under, or a little bit oily, you know, like, so you've got to just understand that it's not a perfect dish, and rustic and beautiful is what we're looking for.
Yeah, beautiful.
Those onions are quite strong. I mean, I'm feeling them in my eyes.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
I was just thinking that it's the one good thing about wearing glasses these days, that you don't cry when you're
It's not the same as the onion goggles though.
No.
Do you ever use onion goggles?
Not anymore. No, because I've always got my glasses on.
Do you all know about onion goggles? I'm going to show them to you actually. Okay, eggs are boiling, so I'm going to put on 8 minutes.
And I'm still finely chopping my onion because I like it super fine. But I'll just go back to the other ingredients. I think we said 2 Roma tomatoes, and it's actually for the 3 avocados and the 1/4 of an onion, it's only 1 Roma tomato. So, and I'm actually just...
Yeah, we did say 2. I did say 2 in the recipe. I think probably because I do 2 now, but you know, it's really, it's whatever you like. It's whatever you like.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there with my onion and go on to my tomato. So I'm going to finely chop my tomato. And you know what, to be honest with you, at home, I never de-seed it. It does say de-seeded.
Yep.
And feel free to open up your tomato and scoop out your seeds and finely chop. What would you like, please? Seeds or no seeds?
You can decide.
Well,
okay, so these are onion goggles, and we used to sell them, but then we stopped selling them, but you can get them online. And not only are they super attractive, look how good that looks. What do you think? Yeah. Not only do they look gorgeous, but they are super, super effective. They've got like foam around the edges, and it stops the fumes from the onions getting in your eyes. So if you are making something and you're chopping like 6 onions or 10 onions, it's actually worth grabbing a pair. We use them a lot. So my eggs are boiling really rapidly. There's no simmering. I'm really boiling them. And you can see in the corner there, the water is really boiling for 8 minutes.
Actually, just realised I'm making this avocado dip for Lisa's family's Friday night dinner. There's a little bit of pressure here.
There is actually. There is pressure because they're all going to taste it tonight and
judge
it for sure, without a doubt. What I love about what we're doing today is that I'm going to get dinner done. My dinner is going to be done. My starters, thank you, Natty.
Pleasure. I've got my mother making egg and onion, I hope, cooking along as we go, making it for me for tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so Nessie said can never be over. The onions can never be overdone. I sort of agree with you, Nessie, but you don't want them burnt, right? So you've got to get like the step before burnt. Because I have over the years forgotten them or got distracted and then they're burnt and I've got to chuck them and start again, which is just so heartbreaking. So yeah, Nikki's got purple onion goggles. Yeah, as long as you set the foam in the eye sockets, it works well. I agree. Okay.
Right, I'm coming along, still chopping my tomato.
Oh, you're taking the seeds out for me.
I did the seeds for you, just in case you didn't want them.
Thanks. So these onions are, I would say, probably 3/4 of the way ready. You could eat them now. They're already soft and they're becoming really golden. So I'm just going to keep cooking.
But you want them browner than that?
Yeah, browner than that.
So not golden at all?
No, they're golden now, but I want them really deeply golden. Yeah. Esther loves her onion goggles. Yeah, they're it's worth buying. I'm sure you can find them quite cheaply now on you know, one of those catch.coms, or, you know, they have everything you need at any time. So tell us how you got this recipe, because you gave it to me years ago, and then it ended up
I've been making this avocado dip for years and years and years. All the girls took it from me and loved it, and everyone and been making it too. And then when we were writing our third book, they said, it's got to go in, it's got to go in. It's really simple, but it's the best avocado dip. So we put it in the book.
Yeah, I think we didn't want to put it in the beginning because it's so simple and it's something we all make. And why does anyone...
Onions and tomato now chopped in the
beautifully
bowl.
Chopped. You know, you sort of think you don't need to put this recipe in a book because it's something we make and it's so simple. But there's something about this one. I mean, I make it every single week in my house and have for 10 years. Yeah. Go on, sorry, I interrupted. Go.
Yeah, so, and we put it in the book, and we printed the book, and we sold the book. And then a very good girlfriend of mine told me where I actually got the recipe from, her husband. 1 billion years ago at their house for dinner, where it had been served, and I raved about how good it was, and had been making it ever since. Completely forgot that is where the recipe came from. I felt terrible. We felt terrible because we had printed it under my name, and it actually had come from someone else. It had been that long ago that I had lost memory of it.
Yeah, and it was a very, very stressful moment when Natty realised that. And it's in print, and it's now, you know, tens of thousands of books have already been sold, and it's out there in the whole world, and you can't bring them back. Yeah,
so actually it comes from Anne and Jeff Engelman. It actually was Jeff's recipe, and he gave it to me, and it's become mine. I suppose we've changed it slightly over the years, but still it did come from him. And I think we did a reprint of the book, and we put that story in the reprint.
Yeah. So in the reprint, he is
so bad.
Yeah. So I see that you're taking your time chopping the avocado. Sorry. Why don't you just scoop it out with a spoon if you're mashing it, or smushing it anyway with a fork?
You can.
Like, why are you doing? Why do you need to do that?
I halve my avocado and then roughly cube it in there and then squeeze it up, because then you don't need to chop it as much. I like my avocado to stay quite chunky, not smooth mashed avocado.
I agree.
And I think this is a good way of doing it, because then it actually stays chunky, and you just mix it. As you mix it up, it mashes a little bit anyway.
I like that, Natty. I think that's a great tip, actually, because I just go like zoom, zoom, scoop, scoop.
No, because then you're not mashing it.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Yeah. This is a very good idea. So you can see what she's doing is she's doing like a crisscross inside the avocado.
So I just...
Thanks, Leonie. She said she's got 4 books and she loves them all. Thank you.
So I've crossed, and then I just cut it all out, and it comes out in the cubes. It's just going to get a little bit more mashed, and when I mix it up, and that's about as chunky as I have it. You can do it however you like.
I think the avocado dip is at its peak made the same day.
Yes, definitely.
It does last for a few days in the fridge because it's got lemon in it, and it lasts probably 3 days, but it's just at its peak. So if you're making it for Friday night.
Oh, and don't make sure you hold on to 1 pip, because don't throw it away, because once you've made it, you sit the pip in your dip, and that's what keeps it fresh till you serve it. Then just remove it when you serve it.
Yeah. Just back to onion goblets for a minute. Susan says contact lenses work well as a barrier. That's interesting. I never knew that. Probably better than glasses. So Tanya says she's salivating, but Tanya, you have no idea how good these fried onions smell.
Maybe she's salivating over this.
How smell?
Over my avocado.
Oh, okay. You're salivating over the fried onions or the avocado? Come on, tell us. So the onions to me are ready to come off the heat, because what happens is they'll keep cooking in the meantime because there's hot oil. Yeah, she says the fried onions.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want you to see, they are just about ready. They're really pretty golden. They don't look as golden on the screen, I don't think, as in real life. And remember, because the oil is super hot,
they're not golden.
They're going to keep cooking.
They look beautiful.
For a little bit.
Oh, and they smell fabulous.
So I hope you don't mind us doing 2 at a time, but
Yeah,
you're only chopping avos now,
yes.
so you're not up to the crucial part, which is the tasting and the seasoning. So that's my eggs. Oops. So the eggs have been boiling for 8 minutes on a rapid boil, and I timed it from when they started to boil. Reminder, they're in room temperature water and they were room temperature eggs. All those things matter to the cooking time. I don't want the eggs grey. I remember at Pesach every year, my mum always, for some reason, boiled the eggs in salt water for like 3.5 hours. No, I'm exaggerating. For probably like 15 minutes, and they have that grey ring about around them, which I really don't like, and I don't want for egg and onion. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to go over to the sink, and I'm going to fill the saucepan with, going to drain it and rinse them with cold water because I want them to cool down as quickly as possible. And I'll leave you with Natty and her avocados.
Yes, and I'm
turning this heat off now from the onions as well.
Sorry, I'm going a bit slow here, guys. I'm still scooping out my 3rd avocado. While I'm doing so, I just wanted to let you know, I mean, obviously this is a great dip to have anytime, just with a cracker, you know, like if you've got people over and as a starter, just with some other dips and crackers and veggies and nuts and things. It's really lovely. And also, every time I make, in our 3rd book, we've got a fabulous recipe for fish tacos. This goes brilliantly with it on the taco if you're making the tacos, or just as a side. I often make it as a midweek dinner without the taco itself, just the fish and all the bits and pieces, and then I add this on as well, and it's great. I'm just going to quickly clean my hands before I move on.
Okay, so my onions are off the heat now. They are, I think they're done, and they will continue a tiny bit. Remember that, even if I sometimes put them in a bowl if they've overcooked a bit, they just will continue to fry. So you need to make sure they're just under when you take them out. Now the eggs are boiled. Ideally, I would be at my kitchen sink and I would be peeling them under running cold water. I know it's not good for water and I know it's overusing water, but it's the best way to get them peeled. But since I'm here in front of you, I'm just going to do it like this. And I have to tell you, there are sometimes that eggs are not easy to peel. There are some eggs that have a very weird something. Someone wrote a whole article about it and they're not easy to peel. But luckily today, these ones are lovely. So I'm just going to peel the eggs, and I always put them into, I've sort of got a habits that I have formed with making egg and onion. I put a paper towel in the bottom of a bowl and I put the peeled eggs into it because they're often a bit wet because I've been peeling them under running water. So that's why. So I put the paper towel in until I finish doing the peeling.
Shall I help you or shall I go?
You go on and I'll just peel.
All right. So in here I've got my chopped tomato, my chopped avocado and my chopped onion. And now we're going to season it. So the first thing I'm going to add to that is the lemon juice. I think it's the juice of 1 lemon, which is about 50 mils. So I'm just going to measure out 2.5 tablespoons, which is 50 mils. And then you have to, it's really all about taste and how you like it.
It really is. It's one of those things that you really need to taste as you go. So Anita said it doesn't matter what size of egg. Look, we use extra large eggs for everything in this kitchen, just because we do. So if you use tiny eggs, just add another one, but it's really not particular, you know, whether it's a bigger or smaller egg.
Or a bigger or smaller onion either.
Yeah, you could. Someone said, could you put it in, Sharon said, can you put the eggs in cold water to peel them? Yes, you could, just as easily as running, but for some reason, running works very well, particularly when they're hard to peel. Go on.
I'm going to add in a teaspoon of salt, and this is like just to start with, like your basic seasoning, and I think a little bit of pepper. I saw a pepper.
Yeah. Sorry, Tia.
Sorry. A little bit of pepper, and then once it's all mixed up, you're going to go again and taste, season, taste, season, taste, season, and a splash secret ingredient of Tabasco. So your family like lots or little?
Well, Sam likes a little, Danny likes a lot. So we go a little, and Danny has the bottle on the table next to him.
Fair enough. All right, well, you'll be the taster here. And then either with a potato masher or a fork, I use a fork. And I actually don't even really mash, because as you're stirring it, if your avocados are ripe, which is really important for this dish, to have good ripe avocados.
Yeah, it is.
It mashes up because I've cubed it already, it just mashes up perfectly.
Yes, we're using black. We are using black pepper. Yeah. So Mandy says, if you add half a teaspoon of baking soda to the water when you boil them, they'll never stick. I'm going to try that, Mandy. The shells.
Oh.
I'm going to try that, Mandy, because there are some days, and it's usually when I'm doing egg and onion for 30.
It's when you're rushing.
That the eggs stick. And someone wrote an article about, there's something about some chemical thing underneath the shell that happens. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to try that baking soda, but there's no problem today. It's all good.
Okay, so you want to do the first taste, Lise? So as you can see, I just wanted to show, I don't know if you can see there, like it's mushy, but there's still solid lumps of avocado, that's how our family likes it. Would you like it more than that? That's beautiful. I love that. I would like it a more tiny bit more than that. Okay. But only a tiny. But just as we mix it. Actually, yes, because we're going to taste now. So we've got about lots and lots of teaspoons. Here you go. And this is really the only way you can get it right. You have to taste.
You have to. There's no option here.
It's actually pretty good.
More pepper. So yum.
It is, isn't it?
And it's really good because of the way you've cut the avocado. So it's not all the same. It's not a puree that all tastes the same. You've got bits of that you just avocado, and then you've got the little crunchy onion.
I think a little bit more Tabasco and a little bit more
salt. And a little bit more lemon. I would go more salt, more lemon.
So more everything.
I'm a very lemon salty person. Our family is particularly. Just step over a little bit towards me. You're out of the
And a little bit. So a little bit more of everything actually. So
Michelle peels her eggs in a bowl of water and ice cubes. Yeah, that's probably much better than wasting running water. You're right. You're absolutely right. Okay. And Tanya says, empty the pot of water, put the eggs back in and put the lid on, rattle the pot, helps with the peeling. That's also a great idea. I love it.
Wow.
My eggs are beautifully peeled. And how much oil went in the avocado? No oil in the avocado. No. There's only oil in the onions here
lemon juice, salt, pepper, Tabasco. That's it.
All right, so let's talk about the grating. I should really do it in a glass bowl though, so you can see what's going on.
And while you're...
Even though...
Okay, so avocado dip is basically done once we get the seasoning perfect. I'm going to put it in the bowl that I'm going to serve it in. I'm going to pop the pip in, cover it, and then leave it till tonight.
Yeah. Yum. Okay. Can I have another taste?
Yes.
Yeah. I could go a bit more salt, but we're very salty fat.
It does need more salt.
So by the time we finish tasting, there's no avocado dip left. So, or maybe make an extra avocado so you can count on tasting it very generously. All right, back to the egg and onion. Did we put in the jalapenos? No, the jalapenos are a garnish at the end if you like them. They're not actually in the dip. So if you're serving it for a Mexican thing or you love jalapenos, put them on top. Okay, this makes me remember Pat, like she's standing here with me, the way she grated the eggs, and she taught me how to do it. So we've all grated fingers in our time, haven't we?
Definitely.
I even did it last week. I was grating some Parmesan and I grated my knuckle. You know, it happens to everybody. But this way, you take your egg and the coarse side of a box grater. I don't want this done in the food processor. I don't want it on a microplane. I want it on the coarse side of a box grater. You take your egg and you grate like this, and you keep your hand flat like this.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And your palm will never grate because it's really tough. So you just are doing it like that. You know, no fingers in sight, no knuckles in sight. And you can see my eggs are just boiled because they're quite yellow still. Yeah, it's a bit big probably. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Maddie's just looking for a bowl for me for Shabbat. So again, egg, flat, no fingers, no knuckles in the way at all. Just the coarse side of the box grater. And the eggs are still warm, and it's really lovely to work with warm eggs and onions for this recipe. Okay, so I've got 8 eggs and 2 onions.
They have to be warm, don't they, the eggs?
No, I don't think they have to be. But it's nice to make it warm. It seems to then soak up all the onion flavour and the seasoning really nicely. Okay, so Esther does it exactly the same. Esther's my sister. And who taught you how to do that? Because you weren't at home, I don't think, in those days. Did Pat teach you? I don't even actually know that question, the answer to that question. Or did Mum teach you? That's what I want to know.
Well, maybe you did.
No, I don't think I did. That's what I love about this recipe. Also, my sister makes it for her Shabbat table. My sister-in-law makes it for her Shabbat table, and we all now make it, and everyone else's families
does as well.
And it's such a simple recipe. Yeah, so Esther said she also learnt from Pat how to make it. So it's really nice. So Pat, I hope you are looking down proudly on what you've taught us. It's really lovely. Okay, and this is the last egg.
And there is, with the pip sitting in it, the avocado dip ready for dinner tonight. Beautiful.
Ready for our dinner. How good. My dinner's going to be half made. I'm happy to talk in a minute about what I'm making.
I wanted to mention this.
Yes.
This is brilliant. This is the lemon juice that I was using. How many lemons is in here?
8. 6, 8. Yeah.
Squeezed in a squeezy bowl, bottle.
Yeah.
And will go in Lisa's fridge. Yeah. And every time she needs lemon juice, she just pulls this out. I love that.
So yesterday I did a cooking demo and conversation with Lainey Kadri from Lainey's Kitchen. Check her out on Instagram, Linie Kitchen. Yeah, Lainey's Kitchen. Yeah. And she was using lemon juice from a squeezy bottle. Now I do lots of things from a squeezy bottle. Like I always have my salad dressing in a squeezy bottle, but I'd never had lemon juice. And so I did that, and now that's going to sit in the fridge for the whole weekend every time I need lemon juice. So thank you, Lainey. That's a great idea. So Nikki says her eggs fall apart. No, mine fell apart too. It doesn't matter. Doesn't mean you've overcooked them at all. The only thing that will tell you if you've overcooked them is if you've got a grey ring around the yolk. And these are beautifully yellow and white, and there's no overcooking happening. And they all fell apart as I grated them. Okay, so now I've got my onions, which you can see now are fully golden.
Yeah, dark.
And I'm going to put them into the egg, and I'm going to leave the oil behind. So on some days when I just pour the oil in and don't measure, I've got way too much oil, I'll actually drain them into a bowl and leave the oil in the bowl and use the onions. But I'm just going to do that. I don't want all the oil yet. Most of it, but not all of it. So I've probably left behind a tablespoon. You can see, maybe. And ideally, I'm going to season it now. I'm going to season for the first thing with just fine salt. It's just easier in the beginning. I'll season at the end with the flaky salt for a sort of a bit of texture. That nice, flavour as well. So I'm going to season generously with fine salt and pepper. It really needs a lot of seasoning, and I can't tell you how much exactly. You have to taste it, another thing as well. And ideally with your hand, if you feel like it, and if not,
I think you've got it in the recipe in the book. It says with your hand.
It's got to be a wooden spoon. For some reason, I don't know why it needs to be wooden. I don't understand why in my head, but anyway.
Well, for you, it needs to be wooden. Yeah.
But it works very well with a wooden spoon because it sort of sticks to it a bit, and it makes a lovely squishy sound. Can you hear that? That's the sound of egg and onion. And that's it.
And you sort of want it to come together a bit. So it like if it's not coming together a bit, then there's not enough oil in it.
And if it's too squishy, then it's too much oil. And once you've put too much oil in, can't get it out. I've done that too. So don't stress about it. I've done it always, you know.
I would rather have more oil than not enough oil, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I probably.
Because then it would be a bit dry.
So the smell of this is my childhood. It's just amazing. So this is what it looks like. And you can see it's pretty stuck together. I could press it down and turn it upside down.
There's nothing dry about it.
Yeah, so there's nothing dry about it. So now I'm going to taste it again. And
so you're not going to add in the rest of the oil?
Definitely don't need the rest of the oil. Right. So 1/3 of a cup was probably the right amount for 2 onions, but I don't mind having a bit extra for the cooking and just not using it oil. And if you're an oil saver, you can save that for next Friday and put it back in the onions again. So this is perfectly mixed. We're going to put it in a bowl.
You make the same bowl? Or?
Yeah, I've got, do you want to get a smaller version of that? In that, see the cupboard over there over the printer? Yeah, thanks. So good having someone who knows my kitchen in the kitchen. I guess it is the Monday Morning Cooking Club kitchen, so we all know it really well. Okay, so this egg is ready, and now we just need to taste it. Just remember one thing, that if you're seasoning with your hands and tasting with your hands, you're going to taste the seasoning that you just put in. So you need to make sure that you...
we've already got down to our last teaspoon. I'll get some more.
So, you know, we all do that. We season with the salt and then you taste and it's very salty and it's not a true indication of what's happening in the dish. So...
How is it?
It's very good, but it just needs more salt to me.
Oh, it's so good. I'll tap it, a bit more salt.
Put a bit of the flaky. And a bit more pepper.
It's beautiful.
When I make it on a Friday, I probably season it probably 4 times before I get it right, because it's... And
the onions are delicious. They're chewy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The onions are chewy. They're not mushy. They don't dissolve, and they're really golden. Okay.
And they're sweet.
I think that'll be perfect. It looks perfect. Tell me what you think. Have we got some more spoons? Yeah. We're so proper with our spoons when you're all watching. Are we like that when we're the two of us?
We never double dip. Never.
Do we ever double dip? Everyone double dips when they're cooking for their family, don't they?
A tiny bit more salt. Yeah, it was just my family, but I'm not your family.
No, I'm just saying, but do you double dip for your family?
Yeah.
Nessie says, how often can you reuse the oil? I think a few times for frying onions, yeah. A couple of times.
But only for frying onions.
Yes, yeah. You wouldn't use it for anything else. I mean, you wouldn't use them for onions and then donuts.
No, obviously.
But you might do the other way around. I'm not sure. All right, let's taste this. God, I love that.
How good is that?
I've been eating this for 50 years and I still love it at this stage, fresh, just made to me. Do your kids not want it at that stage? This is the perfect stage.
No, still that. That is too... I never put it in the fridge. Like I'll make it now. I'll cover it like you taught me with the glad wrap tucking.
Yeah, I'm going to show you that.
And I'll leave it on the bench, not in the fridge, because you don't want it refrigerated till the next morning.
So refrigeration changes it. I mean, you can eat it the next day, don't get me wrong, but it's just not, there's something about it at this point that is so good. And I need to show you how I would glad wrap it if I was going to. So if I made this now, what's the time? 12 o'clock for tonight. It's a cold day. I'd be happy to leave it in the pantry with some plastic on it. But if it's a hot summer's day, you might want to wait till 5 o'clock to make it. I think it's sort of a bit safer. So this is how you've got to glad wrap it. Otherwise, you're going to get a crusty top. And I just put the glad wrap on and just press it down onto the surface. And that's how I would store it for the afternoon. But we're going to eat it now because I want to show you my favourite thing to eat it with. Obviously, Friday night challah, avocado dip, egg and onion. What more do you want? But if you want to make this as a snack, something with drinks, or just one afternoon when you're peckish, I would go.
Yeah, I would love just to make it one afternoon when I'm peckish. I've never done that.
My favourite, and you don't agree with me, who doesn't love a Vita Wheat? For those of you in Australia, there's nothing better in the world than egg and onion on a Vita Wheat. I have to say it is.
Sorry. It's very good, but if you have a look, if you have our third book, we have a recipe for homemade lavash, crackers in it, and I think egg and onion on the lavash is also fabulous.
I agree. But, you know, I don't have any lavash and I'm not going to make any today, but I've always got Vita Wheat. Yeah, and I think that Vita Wheat and egg and onion, or Vita Wheat and avocado, are really something special. Yeah, Nikki agrees with Vita Wheat. Yeah, Vita Wheats are just fantastic. Either butter and Vegemite. Do you like that?
Love butter and Vegemite.
On Vita Wheat?
Yeah, and then you close it and squeeze it.
So I don't know if the Americans have got anything similar to this or not. I've got to have a bite.
Sorry.
Tanya likes water crackers with it. How is it?
It's delicious. Delicious. It is beautiful. It's perfect.
I love it.
Yeah.
If you've made it already and you're cooking along, please eat some now because we shouldn't be the only ones enjoying it. It's really good. And to say that about something that I've been cooking probably for 30 years is crazy. But I want you all to please go and make this if you haven't. And then send us a message on social media. You know, we're on Instagram, Monday Morning CC, or Facebook, Monday Morning Cooking Club, or email us back and send a photo. Let us know what you think, because I got lots of chicken photos last week from the chicken, and it was so nice to see everybody's delicious efforts. Merle, I hope Merle is watching. Merle made lunch for her friends from the Cookalong.
Oh yes, I saw that.
And she sent me a photo of her beautiful table with her chicken and the cucumber salad, and she said that her and her friends, they loved it. So we would love to hear from you, what you think of the egg and onion and what you think of the avocado dip. It really means a lot to us to hear back from you. I want to just tell you something very special coming up. We have decided, for all of you people that are part of our Zoom community, that we're going to offer a special price on our new book. What have we done with it? Oh, here it is. We're going to offer you a special price. So this is our new book. If you don't have it, it's called Now for Something Sweet, and it's in hardcover, and it sells in the shops for $50. And we have decided, for all of you special people, we're going to offer it for 3 days only at a special price of $35, which is $15 off, which is unbelievable. And
through our website.
So what I'm going to do is, when I send to all of you an email after this event, will probably be tomorrow, or depends when I get around to doing this, with a copy of this video, a link to the video, I should say, and the full recipes. And then I'm going to put in a special code that you can use on our website, and it's valid for 3 days only. And you can buy books at that special price, and it's just for you, because we want the survey we did from all of you a few weeks ago. Thank you for filling it in. Showed us that most people have got the first book, and then the second book, and then the third, and then the fourth. And we're very sad that you don't have the fourth book, which is absolutely...
Maybe we need to do some more cooking from it with you guys to show you how good all the recipes are.
So there's going to be a special, so I'm going to get onto that today.
It also makes a beautiful gift for Rosh Hashanah's coming up, if you need.
That's true,
We're not eating out a lot, but if you are wanting to share something sweet with someone, the cookbook is a great option.
So Nikki says the new book helped our family get through ISO 1 in Melbourne. The passion fruit slab cake, that's amazing. Coffee cake, that's the one you made on IGTV. Thanks, Nikki.
And remember,
and so Lois in the US, the fourth book is not available in the US, and it will be on the 3rd of November, which is not too far away.
It's going like that.
And so Lorraine says, I'm late to the MMCC party. Well, welcome. Will you do a special on the first book? You know what, we should probably, there's so much we should do and that we want to do.
What do you mean? Oh, a special?
You mean like go back and cook from the first book? Oh, you mean a special price. You know what, I think that we will do a special.
Maybe a deal on all of them?
On the set of 4. And the set of 3, perhaps. I think we'll do we might do a special on the set of 3, which is the first 3 in soft cover, or the set of 4, but not on the first book alone, because we just can't keep up with the stock on the first book, and we just don't have enough. We know that whenever we put something on sale, they just run out the door. So can't do the first book at this stage. It's getting hard to get. A deal would be, we'd love to do that. And can we send it to the US? You know what, it's just not worth it. It costs more than the book to send it to the US. So US people, you just, have to be patient.
US people, if you have a look on our website, have we got any recipes up from it yet on our website?
Yeah, we do. We've got a couple.
There's a few, and there will be a few more for Rosh Hashanah if you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and have a look at the website. So there'll be 1 or 2 coming through from the 4th book, and then November you'll get it.
So Ellie said, should the avocado dip be refrigerated till tonight?
I do.
Yeah, I probably would. I'd put it in the fridge. Just for the avocado, they tend to go grey otherwise. And
although the pip helps a lot with that.
I know the pip does help, but what's the story? Like, is it actually why? What's it got in it?
I don't know, but I know that even when you keep the pip in there, that doesn't go.
No, I do it also in the fridge. Before you eat half an avocado, I just leave the pip in, and there must be a scientific reason why. I'd like to know. Maybe we'll find out for next time. So that's it. So watch out for the email. It's going to come from my email address, which will tell you about the book specials and the next event we're doing, which off the top of my head, I can't think of at this point in time. But we've got so much planned for Jewish New Year, which is in about a month. We have so many cookalongs.
Yeah.
We are pretty much going to help you make your New Year's dinner, and you'll be able to cook along with us on the Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday before the Friday night to make your dinner. We're going to be making brisket, brisket with honey and carrots and potatoes, which is an amazing dish, not from any of our books. We're going to be doing carrot simmer, so you can cook along. We're going to be doing honey cakes, honey biscuits. There's lots. So we've got you covered for Jewish New Year. So Kerry says, hope we can get out before then.
Oh, and South Africa.
So I hope you can get out before then too. It's when's New Year? In about 4 weeks. Hopefully Melbourne people will be able to go out. And if you can't,
we will give you lots of cooking to do at home. But someone's asking about the books in South Africa. I think it's
really hard. And we're having trouble with South Africa.
Amazon UK?
Amazon UK, for some reason, a month ago weren't shipping to South Africa. So we need to see, you need to check Amazon UK and see if they can ship to it. Try Book Depository. I couldn't find anywhere online that was shipping to South Africa. And it's really expensive. Like, we can't send from here either. I've been through all of the options. And I've asked our publisher a few times and she said she's onto it, but it's just a difficult time for all that sort of stuff. I wanted to say one more thing.
Shabbat Shalom from New Jersey. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being with us. I do want to say one more shout out though, because some of you know I'm working for this project called Dinera, which is a great hub of activities particularly for the older generation online. And I'm working on the food stream of that. And I'm interviewing next Thursday, and I'm really excited, Alice Zaslavsky from MasterChef. So Alice, who's on ABC in Australia, she's a fantastic girl, has amazing recipes, and I'll be interviewing, and hopefully she'll be cooking something with me next Thursday at 11. So if you go to the Dinera website, which is Dinera, dunera.org.au, you can sign up for that event. But Monday Morning Cooking Club wise, we have so much more coming, and just keep in touch with us through social media. Send us your pics, send us your comments. Thank you everybody for joining in, and Shabbat Shalom to everybody celebrating. Everyone. Happy weekend to everybody else. Melbourne people, hang in there. And, enjoy whatever you can this weekend, and happy cooking.
Happy cooking, everyone.
Really good. And now I'm going to go and finish this Vita Wheat with egg and onion, which is just the best. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye. See you.